Good morning. Just a friendly reminder. This morning, as you wake up, Celtic fans, and fans from any other team around Scotland, there's one thing that's certain. Celtic are on 119 trophies, making them the most successful club in Scotland. So there's lots to be happy about, Celtic fans, as we wake up on this Christmas week morning. Yes, it's Christmas this week, and there was no goals galore given out by Dundee United. They managed to shut up shop and make it a hard game for Celtic yesterday. In the bigger picture, I mean, is it a really bad thing? Chris Sutton says, look, Celtic not good enough today. You can't win them all, which you can't, and especially at this time of year. It's not easy for the players to come in and perform to the level required. When you see the squad, now people will start talking about the squad's not good enough and all the rest of it. We know there's players at Celtic that just aren't to the standard of some of the first team players. But when you look at it, well played, he said, to Jim Goodwin and Dundee United. You know, they did their job and they did it for 90 minutes. There's not many teams that manage that against Celtic, so fair play to Dundee United. When it comes to it, there's the bigger picture, as they say. Yes, these two idiots decided to do their little bit for their respective paper, and I'm going to let you listen to this because it's, for me, it's just hilarity.
And let me just throw this one at you as well. Dennis Mirren writes in saying, today proves Celtic squad isn't as good as it's made out. Falkirk then today, a few injuries, struggle with 5 out, an £11 million man only gets 5 minutes. Obviously a little bit harsh, I feel, but
you can tell he's a Rangers fan that wrote that in.
Bringing it up because I think Brendan Rodgers will be concerned that the players that he brought in today, I think it was a very noticeable drop-off. I mean, Kuhn to Yang.
That's big.
Very big. Yeah. And then even I like
was James Forrest on the bench, did he?
No, he was injured as well.
Right.
He's out for
Did Keith Jackson even bother watching the game? This is the point I'm going to make here.
So look, I mean, this is I'm not saying it's not crisis point or anywhere near it for Celtic, but it is a concern. And it's going to be a concern. How many of these guys are going to get over their injuries or their illnesses in time for the next couple of games? This is a critical point in the period, a critical period in the season. And it would be advantageous.
This is paid journalists, and you would think as paid journalists they would do their homework and maybe even listen to what Brendan Rodgers said in the press conference on Friday. You know, he did say that there was a flu bug going about the club, and it was no big deal that the players may miss the game this weekend, but they'd be okay for the next game. He said with the players that were injured, they may miss the game this weekend, but they'll be okay for the next game. Are they accusing Brendan Rodgers of lying to the fans?
If the manager had options, because I think what you saw today is too much of a drop.
Like even players like Ralston's never let Celtic down, but Johnson's
he's
a big upgrade.
I really like Tony Ralston because you can absolutely hang your hat on him, but he just can't do and offer the things that Alistair Johnston does going forward. Alistair Johnston and Kuhn they've got such a strong relationship and partnership down that side. They are top notch, and it's really hard to replace them. I think as well, you know, Fraser was spot on there. Defensively, Celtic were fine. You know, they've had to change 3 of the
God, honestly,
back four. They were solid enough defensively. But you know, there is a difference that Carter Vicker makes.
You've just said, I mean, there was no issue with it. I have no issue with the defence at all yesterday, but now he's going to start banging on about Cameron Carter Vickers not playing yesterday. There was no issue with the defence at all. The defence did their job well. You know, any time that Dundee United did get up, the two guys in defence did fine.
And Brendan Rodgers went to some length to point this out last season when Carter Vickers was missing. It's that when a team is trying to get out.
And he's now talking about, see, this is what I love about paid journalists. He's now talking about when Cameron Carter-Vickers was out during the Champions League campaign. Now, we all know that Cameron Carter-Vickers has missed the Champions League campaign for a couple of seasons. He gets injured at the beginning of the season. And this is what he's talking about. Cameron Carter-Vickers is an important player to Celtic. But picking out things at a specific point during a season, that's just typical mainstream media, isn't it?
Celtic have got a team hemmed in. You launch a long ball up to the halfway line. Now,
I'll stop it there, because yesterday, Welsh and Scales snuffed out the ball quite easily.
Cameron Carter-Vickers is there, he snuffs that out. He gets right on top of it, he'll win the ball back, he'll retain it, and Celtic go again from the halfway line or no deeper than that.
Like Scales and Welsh did yesterday.
When he's not there, it's easier for the ball to get in behind and for teams to get out. Celtic suffocate you by, camping in.
Did he even look at the stats from the game yesterday, Keith Jackson? Or is he just on this phone and just talking nonsense?
In your half,
Yeah.
and coming at you repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it's easier for the team to function that way when Carter-Vickers is playing at centre-half, because he anticipates, he's strong, he's quick, he gets there, he shuts it down, and next minute Celtic are off in attack again. And without him there, that's a big part in how Celtic play the game.
We've said previously in this show that Carter-Vickers, the great thing about him is that he stops opposition attacks before they become attacks.
Before it's even in.
The way that they're talking, there was a massive issue with the defence yesterday, and there wasn't at all. There was absolutely no issue with any of the defenders at Celtic yesterday, and I just think it is another one of these. I'm not going to go down the agenda route, but we all know what the Scottish media are like.
Snuffs them out before it's even dangerous. Yeah. And I think he's absolutely essential if Celtic want to.
But in terms of how Celtic, and it's this relentless, always in the front foot and going
like they were yesterday.
Again and going again.
Like they were yesterday.
And that it comes from, Carter-Vickers plays a huge role in that, because without him, what maybe ends with the opposition getting 30 yards into your half, Carter-Vickers is dealing with that in the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
And
like I said, like Scales and that did yesterday, it totally astounds me that people can actually. I mean, this is like me commenting on a Rangers game that I wouldn't watch, and it's just unbelievable that without actually watching the game or even looking at the stats of the game, and they're just making stuff up, aren't they? We all know that Cameron Carter-Vickers is an important player for Celtic, and in the big occasions we miss him, but. Talking the way they are about the game. Remember, they're talking about the game yesterday, and the way that they're describing what may happen never happened yesterday.
Keeps the momentum, keeps Celtic going forward. That's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of comments coming in. I mean, I don't even know where to start, Keith, to be honest.
That means there's no comments coming in, is there?
Do you want a shot of my glasses?
I might need them, to be honest. John here saying, can't win them all, although we've been playing below par for a few games now, already. We will pick up the ante again soon, though. Fair play to United for taking advantage. Still a comfortable 9-point lead. And Paul...
The 9 points just not as comfortable as 11.
Aye, of course. I'd like... Actually, I think the next Old Firm game will be interesting. Rangers have a newfound confidence. Celtic
there's no Old Firm, mate.
should be concerned. A lot of Celtic fans are showing an arrogance that might...
showing arrogance. And a lot of Celtic fans showing arrogance. Putting out simply the best over the Tannoys at the weekend at Ibrox, and that's not showing arrogance. And the best bit is that the fans don't sing along with it anymore. They put it on the tannoy, but the fans don't know. They don't sing it, do they? Because they know that they're not simply the best.
Might just bite them later on.
Well, I think Celtic's fans are probably entitled to feel a little bit arrogant in the sense that...
Probably well earned,
there's a reason that Celtic keep on winning.
Because we're champions again, ole, ole.
But everything that's going... It's because, and let's be no doubt about that, they are by far and away the best side in the country.
Yes, exactly.
But,
here we go.
And the but is, as I
Rangers are shite.
keep saying, this is not the same Rangers that they were seeing off. This is a different Rangers. Simply because...
That's because they died and came back zombies. It's not the same Rangers, is it? I'm glad you said that, Keith Jackson. We have it official. It's not the same Rangers.
In the attacking third, they are unpredictable and dangerous. And that they were the very opposite of that at the start of this season.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Aye.
So
I think that's a fair point.
Anyway, he's got a head on that, but we need to listen. I haven't said that. Do we get that again?
at the start of this season.
No, not that.
In the attacking third that they were seeing off. This is a but. And the but is, as I keep saying, this is not the same Rangers.
I'll do for me. Keith Jackson, one of the mainstream media guys in Scotland, admitted that it's not the same Rangers. That's all we need to know. Anyway, Dundee United, obviously, it was a rubbish performance. We all know it was a rubbish performance, and it was a bit like the performance at the beginning of the season against Falkirk. But the one thing that we can go to sleep with tonight, knowing that these players aren't going to be out for any length of time. They're not going to be out for 6 weeks like James Forrest. The fact that Keith Jackson didn't even know that James Forrest was injured yesterday. I mean, I'm saying right at the beginning of that interview, was James Forrest even playing? Was he even on the bench? Do your homework. Anyway, there's not a lot of Celtic news kicking about this morning. Obviously, let's talk about the Kieran Tierney situation. There's talk about a player maybe coming from Chelsea to Celtic, but the fact that he's on 100 grand a week. Are Celtic about to do something unbelievable in the next transfer window? Brendan Rodgers has said about the game yesterday. He said, "Look, my first game at Tannadice even. It was a much changed side, but when you put it into perspective, when you put it over the length of the season, you know, it's a game that in a couple of weeks people won't remember. It was not an impressive game. It's the first points that we've dropped in the league since a 2-2 draw against Aberdeen in October. We're now on the 23rd of December this morning. It's the 23rd of December, and it's only the second points that we've dropped all season. We've only had 4 goals scored against us all season in the league. I think that, you know, people this morning, yes, you'll not feel great about the fact they're dropping points, and Dundee United aren't out there winning the Moral Cup victory like some other clubs do when they manage to get a draw against the mighty Celtic. But you've got to give credit to Dundee United. You know, you've not got to respect them. They did what they did at the end of the day. And even Ian McGeady on Sky Sports yesterday said that, look, from my perspective, mate, Celtic have just won 119 trophies. We've won a total of 119 trophies. And as a Celtic fan, said Aidan McGeady, as a boyhood Celtic fan, from my perspective, there was absolutely no better team to do it against than Rangers in any form. Or any guys that they come in. The fact that they've done it against Rangers makes it all the more sweeter. I suppose the manner of it takes a little bit sweeter as well. And the fact that it went to penalties, said Aidan McGeady. You never want to win. You always want to win in a final as a player, and it's always best when you do it. The trophy haul, 119. What can we say about that? On that note, I'm sure that will make you smile this morning. The fact that we are, remember, we've got the Just Giving page. We are going live on Boxing Day to try and amass as much money as possible for the Celtic Foundation. The Celtic Foundation is the charity arm of Celtic Football Club, and so far we've raised over £1,246. It's just went up actually, so I need to change that screenshot. And that will be a fantastic amount of money that we've raised so far, and a month that where a lot of people I've got other things to be spending money on, like Christmas Day. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans. There might be another one. There'll be a live tonight. I think that'll be the last live before Christmas. I don't think we'll do one Christmas Eve. So we'll get all Christmassy and stuff. You know what, to sit and talk to me and listen to me talk about Celtic, do we? Anyway, on that note, make sure you join me for 8 p.m. Celtic Part-Time tonight, where we could talk about the game. We could talk about players that may or may not leave Celtic, because I think that we're all well aware of the situation of some players. Some players want more game time. Some players are just not good enough to get any more game time at Celtic, but they may want away. I think it's going to be an interesting transfer window. And all the noise from around Scotland is the fact that Celtic got an £11 million player sitting on the bench and he's not good enough. At 21-year-old, he's got plenty of time to perform and grow as a player. So I'm not getting overly worried about the fact that we spent £11 million on Arnie Engels. I do think that Celtic will go out and spend big in this transfer window also. So we just need to keep an eye on that one. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.